Hey, welcome. Today's August 6th, 2016. This is the third episode of Gentlemen No Class. Today we are going to talk about Thank You Scientist has released a new album, and we're going to give you a little small review on that. We're also going to touch base on The Killing Joke, the movie The Killing Joke, since we did a review of the comic book last podcast. We're going to give you our takes on that, and then hit you up with a little 90s nostalgia, just to reminisce the old times since we're at that age and getting older and stuff. But we also brought in a guest here, Justin Lovern. We went to high school together, and he, just like us, knows a lot about the 90s since we're at that same age group too. So just stay tuned. I know your reason. My reason is purely just to have a beer, whiskey.
Well, no, it's
chloroform.
I am not intelligent at all. I know no science.
But yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, I still get drunk with her, but no, I'm just gonna fall in love, so it's not gonna work out.
Hey, welcome back. I am Jake Pedraza.
Paul Jinky.
Rafael Vega.
And I am Justin Lovern.
So, Justin, what have you been up to, man?
Yeah, the hell with us.
The hell with everybody else.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Right, all right. Well, I think the last time I saw you, it was a late night encounter in the seediest bar on Fairbanks, North Houston.
Yeah.
What was the name of that bar?
510.
510
a dime.
The 5 Dime. And a known hangout of criminals and prostitutes.
What the hell were we doing there?
I don't know what the fuck you were doing there. I just happened to be there.
Yeah.
Because somebody I knew worked there.
Oh, no kidding.
Wow.
Okay.
Like to fit in.
Was she a bartender or?
Yeah, she was bartending there.
Okay, I was hoping it was the fucking
Was it the
karaoke
MILF?
guy.
No, I knew the guy who comes in there nightly to clean the blood up from all the pool fucking tables.
Fair enough.
That's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. And since high school, I've done, let's see, I watched Breaking Bad, and, man, I watched Daredevil more than most people do, the 2003 Ben Affleck film. I watched that several times.
Pre-Batman.
Since high school. And I periodically enroll in college courses, which I'm still wrapping up. So there's not a grand story there, admittedly.
I loved it, though.
Yeah,
I was very impressed.
Right.
I was moved.
Very nice. Well,
Not
good
better
to
than
have
my
you, Justin.
life.
Thanks for coming by. I know I live pretty.
Yeah, you live in the heart of Katy, which there's no excuse for.
Yeah. Sold out.
So whatever.
Hey, you can call me out, too.
It's all right, man. Yeah,
Where do I live?
You live in
Pussy.
Spring,
Yeah.
and that's the hike too, man.
Yeah, I know.
I haven't made that hike in forever. So Paul Raff, do anything exciting this past since the last podcast? Besides work,
catch up on my my what do you call it? My movies and TV, I guess.
Yeah.
Caught up on Wentworth.
Very cool.
Movies, Hardcore Henry.
You watched it?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Fuck me, I can't remember anything else I did. Just those two. Sad.
Pow.
Yeah. Not usual, just work. And, starting to love myself again.
Very cool. Very cool.
Right, yeah. That's cool. I'm glad you love it. Thank you. You seem very happy for me.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't loved myself in a very long time. Not sexually either. Just
I did that this morning.
yeah.
You actually did make a weird Facebook post where you said something pretty positive.
Yeah.
So I actually think you're not lying right
Yeah.
now,
No,
which
he's
is,
not lying, no.
which is
Yeah.
absurd to me.
Yeah, I know.
The idea of loving oneself is
Right.
vomitous at best.
Yeah, seems pretty. What's it called? What's that?
Appropriate.
Self-centered and little narcissistic, but that's what they tell you to
How
do.
did you come to that point,
Yeah, well, you
that awakening?
got to get your fucking heart ripped, and then you come to that point.
There you go.
Okay. So you've hit rock bottom is what you're saying.
Yeah,
I got you.
emotionally, not financially, but yeah. I guess it's rock bottom. Yeah, I'm near rock bottom then. Yeah, but no, I'm fine. I'm bouncing back.
It could always be worse because you could be emotionally hit rock bottom and financially hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
Then you're just
Yeah, but I like he brought up the point that he said he actually wrote something actually positive because normally I don't. I like to be on his level and write stupid shit. And people think that they take us for real. I like that. I like that coming. They take me serious in anything I write. Yeah, and that's fun. I love that.
I just don't like to see positive shit on Facebook.
I know.
And if you're gonna go ahead and do another one of those, take that shit to Twitter or Google
right.
Plus.
That's right.
Don't put it on my fucking Facebook feed again.
Yeah, I'll tag you next time.
Right. Don't.
nice. Well, me, I just celebrated a birthday last weekend.
No, I was there. I forgot about that.
There. Minus Justin.
Right, I wasn't there.
It's kind of fucked up that we didn't get an invite.
Didn't
from
get
him.
the invite.
Yeah,
I know.
You didn't miss much. A lot of people just telling people that they're.
They're better than them, or do you think you're better than me?
Yeah, kind of. You could say that.
I did that a lot.
So to be fair, there is no way I could have made this journey twice in a single month. So
I know.
It's a good
That's
call.
fair enough.
This journey.
Next time.
That's true. This is a goddamn hike, pack a lunch, Ralph style.
Who gets on I-10 for any fucking reason?
I know.
Other than maybe to partly take your ass downtown, but other than that, this is going the wrong direction.
Yeah.
The wrong direction.
Widest freeway in the world.
Sorry, guys. Okay. And Paul mentioned, to check out this album that came out. Actually, was it on my birthday that it came out? July 29th?
Yeah, Friday, yeah. That's Friday.
Thank You Scientists is the band. The album's called Stranger Heads Prevail. My handwriting's all terrible.
Come on, they're going to kill you.
It's okay. My handwriting's... I mean, come on.
I know.
I just started listening to them, and Paul's been on them for a while, and he's been telling me, like, hey, check them out, and, I just haven't had time.
Yeah. You're the one who introduced them to me, so... Yeah, that's the reason why I listen to them.
Yeah, but I mean, I wish I would have listened to them a lot longer because they're jazz influences and they're progressive rock band. It's right up my alley, man. I should have listened to them for a while.
No, they're good.
I enjoyed the album.
Good musicians.
From what I heard, long songs, which I like. I like Metallica. I like me some long songs.
Progressive songs, progressive rock.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Where are they from?
They are from, I believe, New York. Or no, Jersey. New Jersey. Whoops, they're going to kill me
Jersey.
now. Jersey.
New Jersey.
Yes.
Everybody's from New Jersey.
Yeah, right.
Pisses me off.
Either that or New York. For some reason, L.A. or Orange County, too. But
Coheed, I think, is from New Jersey.
I thought they're from New York.
Oh, same shit.
Yeah, they're going to kill us, too.
Okay.
But... What, I don't know whose turn it was. I know we're
I have no
complaining
idea
about it, but I was going to go and just give my input.
No,
go ahead.
Give your input.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, because I was very drunk the other day, a couple of days ago, if you can believe that. And I wanted to do a review on the album because I really liked it. When we want to talk about music, we really talk about music the first couple of episodes, so I figured it would be a good opportunity to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I love this band, and they remind me, like, especially this album, kind of reminds me of, like, Chicago, their earlier work from the 60s and 70s because of their trumpet and saxophone. They don't have a trombone player like Chicago does, but they have a violin player, which is pretty good. And they're 7-piece, and the other ones are vocalist, bass player, and guitar player and drummer.
Nice.
But
nice.
I was just gonna mention about, like, they can't pull the Hard to Say I'm Sorry.
Oh,
but not the Sunny 99.1 version, because they're supposed to be contemporary rock, or not rock, but contemporary, like, adult. Contemporary adult. I don't know what the hell that genre is called.
Yeah.
Easy listening,
Adult
in other words. Yeah, but
say.
they cut the best part off. It's like when they go straight full on metal on the end of that song, and Hard to Say I'm Sorry. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, Justin.
Yeah, dude, I'm a huge fucking Peter Cetera fan. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I'm not a huge fan. I just happen to know. What the fuck do you want from me?
Like when they get to that solo part, then you hear them, the brass come in.
Yeah,
oh man, it is awesome.
No, I actually do know what you're talking about.
Thank you. Yeah, they cut it. Well, they cut it off. I'm a big Sunny 99.1 fan. It was, at least in the 90s it was. We'll talk about that later. Yeah. But that pisses me off. They do that kind of shit. It's like, who the fuck do you think you're fooling, cutting the best part of the song off?
I know.
It's basically a sad part, sad song, and it's all sad at the beginning, and it's supposed to be uplifting towards the end, and I'm all sad going through the routine like I normally do when I hear it, but then when I get the part where I'm supposed to be uplifted, and I listen to Sunny 99.1, they cut it off, I'm fucking pissed.
You can't turn to Sunny 99.1 for the goods. They're just going to give you, there's something special that they give you, that warm glaze of bullshit. But
right.
You can't go to Sunny 99.1 and expect to be like rewarded with something profound.
That's the whole point of the name, Sunny. Sonny! They're supposed to provide my fucking sunshine, but they cut me off.
They do by playing fucking Walking on Sunshine once every hour. I think that's still mandatory.
That's just stupid, but yeah. But their whole format, they're totally different. They changed. I actually listened to them recently. It's just, this is why I don't listen to radio anymore. This is fucking bullshit.
It's all money.
But
92.1, though, that's your saving grace on the Houston radio dial.
What's 92.1?
The hip-hop classics.
Oh, that's a new one.
Boom 92.
Boom 92. Yeah.
Well, anyways, we're veering off. Sorry, way off. Going back to the review. This album's really good, and a lot of people like to compare the vocalist, the Claudio Sanchez, which is the singer from Cody and Cambria. Like, it just sounds like a Coheed ripoff when I hear him. And it's they're actually on under Claudio Sanchez's record label, Evil Inc. Records.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And it's funny. A friend of mine, when I told him about him, he said the exact same thing. Oh, he sounds like Claudio. And I was like, yeah, he's actually signed. They're actually under the label that Claudio owns. And I was like, oh, he's like, you know what? That makes sense. If you're gonna rip our music off, we're gonna sign you so we can make money off of you. I was like, well, I can understand, like, from a shallow face, just a point of view when you first hear it, and if you know of Coheed, they're gonna easily compare it. It sounds like Coheed, but he's got his Sal is a vocalist singer. To me, he's got his own. He provides his own thing, and he sounds like Michael Jackson to me, more of anything than Claudio. And most people that's not aware of Coheed as well. Every time I show them when I'm listening in my car, they keep thinking it's Michael Jackson. It's like, no, it's not Michael Jackson.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, they always compare it to him, and you can hear it big time.
I can hear some Michael Jackson influence in that.
Yeah.
The voice is so soothing, man. This guy can really hit it.
Yeah, him saying that though, like the first time I heard it, I did not compare them to Coheed because I know of them, so I know about the music. So when I first heard it, I was like, nah, this is something different to me. So. And other than that,
safe to say that you agree with what I was just saying.
Yeah, I agree exactly what you were saying. Cause whenever I heard that reference to Michael Jackson, that was spot on. That's what it was to me. That's what I heard. Like when I hear it now, that's what I kind of hear. Like, God damn, Michael Jackson, you fucking still alive.
Yeah. He's reincarnated to a pseudo-looking Italian because I think he's Italian. Salvatore, forgot his last name.
Puppets start buying in the middle of the night. Fuck.
Yeah. I was going to say that. Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just going to say a quick story because we actually met the singer early last year, when he went on tour with Periphery. Early January last year, and we were running a bit late, and I didn't think they were going to start soon. I know they're going to open. And I wanted to go get something to eat, and Raph gives me shit about it all the time because I went to go get something to eat real quick and watch some Sopranos on the phone to entertain myself while I eat some Chick-fil-A.
Nice.
And I deserve that. I deserve to get shitted on for that because by the time we got there, we missed like almost all their set, and they only played like 5 songs. So by the time we got there, they played their second to last song, and we only got to hear one full song. Is my famed Disappearing Act on their the previous album, full length album, which is a good album too. But after that, in the smoking section, this is in the House of Blues in downtown.
Yeah.
And I knew it was him. I recognized him, and I started talking. I was like, "Hey, man," and we just started bullshitting and this and that, and he kept bumming smokes off of me, and we were just talking, and I told him, I was like, "Yeah, like anybody tell you that when you similarly sound like Michael Jackson?" He's like, "No, not really. I usually get like, what is this fucking singing high pitch? What's he doing? Why does he sound like that?" And like that's what he said.
Nice.
He was really cool. He was really down to earth, and it was just cool. We're just talking back and forth, and I always because I think there was 3 or 4 bands playing there that night, and we would always end up meeting outside between intermission. There he goes, intermission, and we always meet and we just smoke, and he was cool. But overall, it's a really good album if you're really into progressive rock, and it's kind of jazz based, just a lot of long songs, and it's really good shit. It is a really good album.
See, the way when I heard this album, I haven't heard any of their older stuff, but when I heard this album, my best description to this type of music is I can look like a bum, dress like a bum, and still drink wine, and it's okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what. That's how it is. Yeah,
rock with jazz.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's
yeah,
really good,
it's really good stuff. And it's like what Raph said the other day. And I'm going to speak for you for a second because you're lazy.
Yeah, yes I am.
We're listening to it again a little bit, and he said it best too. Like he's like, man, it sounds like on this album, like it sounds like they're having fun writing this stuff, and like the way they, the intro and the outro of the album, it just, I don't know, it's good. It sounds like really rock opera-ish, and it's good. It's some good shit.
I'll be dancing.
It's good. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. And Andrew, the trumpet player, fuck you, I guess, 'cause I love you. I used to play trumpet too in band. Yeah, Chuck Mangione, Herb Alpert. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Flugelhorn? No? Well, fuck you guys. He does. He will. He'll understand. Yeah. Play a little Magic Man and give it all you got, Andrew, if you ever listen to this.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Out of 10, the album, what would you rate it?
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10?
That was some fine musicianship right there.
9.
No, I would say about 9. I mean,
I'll give it a 9.
It's hard for anything
For
to be
me,
perfect.
For me, it was. That was
But I haven't heard the whole album.
I've been listening to it nonstop.
Because of me, it's not something that I'm gonna listen to every track back to back. That to me, that's a 10 out of 10. But I mean, so far from what I've listened to, is like, yeah, I'm listening to it, but I still want to go back to the prologue. Like,
well,
I mean, because you feel like dancing.
Yeah, that prologue is pretty fucking badass.
I give it strictly 9 out of 10. I mean, it was great.
How often do you guys issue 10 out of 10 albums? There hasn't been a 10 out of 10 album since fucking Purple Rain.
Oh, well, he's got a point there, but I rarely do, but that album was 10 out of 10 because it was that fucking fantastic. I enjoyed the shit out of it. I want to dance and tell people to, I don't even know where I'm going with that, but yeah, you know what I mean. Come on.
I know what you mean, baby.
Justin's nodding, so he knows what I mean.
I do know what you mean,
Yes,
and I'll check it out because I like the Michael Jackson comparison.
Yeah, he does, man, big time.
He
He is a pale white, kind of stocky, looking bald head with a huge beard.
We all should be that.
Yeah, right. And he has this kind of voice. And he does not look like Michael Jackson. What a beautiful man. God damn. I didn't think a man could be so beautiful that looking that ugly. No, Sal, you're going to hear, Sorry, Sal. Salvatore.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much it.
So we also watched the Killing Joke.
Briefly.
And, I don't even want to voice my opinion.
Well, Justin, you did too, right?
Yeah, we all have seen it. Do we want to go around and just kind of state our initial reaction?
Yeah, go ahead.
That's cool. I like that. Go for it.
All right, look,
I guess.
I haven't seen all the DC animated movies, but I catch every once in a while. There's been some high points. I think the first Green Lantern one was good. The first Wonder Woman, the Batman one that explored Jason Todd as the Red Hood.
Ooh. That's awesome.
Ooh.
Those were the high points for me in that whole series. This one it's not among those.
No.
And it's not for several reasons. It's been discussed to death, and I'm not going to get into it to that extent. But the first 30 minutes, while they might not necessarily, like, maybe I'm not necessarily offended at the level that other people are at, because I'm not a huge Barbara Gordon,
Hanna-Barbera?
Yeah, I'm a huge Hanna-Barbera fan.
Right.
Not a huge Barbara Gordon fan, and so whatever happens with her is it's not going to necessarily be the reason why I dislike the movie.
Right.
That said, it also just does nothing for the narrative of the movie. So you're not achieving anything by boring us with those first 30 minutes. Some dreadful dialogue, including Paris Franz telling Batgirl, "Where's your boyfriend?" And then she's like, "Oh, he's not my boyfriend. Boyfriend? Oh, come on. I mean, do you really think he likes me?" That was sub Gilmore Girl level of dialogue, and it's not something.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me just put a pin in that. I don't want to insult the Gilmore Girls. I couldn't think of a good reference at that point. Let me just say that's just bad writing, and just leave it at that. There's no need. I don't need to bury the Gilmore Girls to discuss why Killing Joke didn't really land. But all of that didn't work. And then when you get into the Killing Joke, there's two camps. There's like probably half of everybody hated it, and half of everybody says that because no one liked the Barbara Gordon stuff. Half of everybody says once you get past the first 30 minutes, it's a panel for panel adaptation of the Killing Joke, and it's remarkable. I think it's a panel for panel adaptation, and that's fucking lazy.
Lazy, yes.
It's basically when you're drawing, you like, let's say I want to draw that right there. I'm sorry, but I was just pointing at a picture, folks. You tracing.
Yeah.
In other words,
it's like remember when you would draw something and you'd bring it to school and be like, look what I drew, and people were like, did you copy that? And you'd be like, no. You copied it, and then you sold tickets to it, you asshole. Yep. You just copied
yours, just
copied something that already came out 25 years ago, or 30 years ago. Sorry, it's not. That's not very clever. And when you're doing something like that, you've got to think about what's going to work and what's not going to work on screen. And tell you something that's not going to work on screen is a song and dance number performed by Mark Hamill's Joker. Complete with like 1960s era Disney instrumentation. It didn't work. There might have been ways that you could have him sing a song, that you could have made it creepy, a cappella or whatever, or use some odd instrumentation, but they didn't. They just lifted it directly, and most of it didn't land. The only a couple moments really were even appealing visually or in terms of the narrative. So it didn't work for me in a major way, and I'd had to give it it's part of DC's colossal missteps this year. It's been a bad year.
Yeah, it's been
I'll say it again. I'm
1 out of 10.
1 out of 10. I can't. I'm not going to give it. I'm not going to. It had Mark Hamill and it had Kevin Conroy, and it visually appeared to look the same as The Killing Joke. Mm-hmm. So 5 out of 10, which is nothing you should aim for.
Fair enough.
So that was your initial reaction. What's your post reaction?
Yeah, my post reaction hasn't improved things. I've not warmed up to it, and in the way that I even warmed up to Batman vs Superman. Like even that on repeat viewings is at least visually more compelling. This remains to be kind of cheaply animated.
Yeah,
the story doesn't make more sense. The more I think about Paris Franz, I'm not loving it. So yeah, it's a 5, solid 5/10.
Solid 5, yeah. Rafe?
Shit. Not loving it, of course. Justin pretty much said it is a panel for panel. That's the immediate thing I thought when I was watching it. I was like, after the Barbara Gordon story, which I thought also was not necessary. I get it. You need time for the movie. I mean, if you read the actual comics or if you looked at the actual comics, it's not very long. But I also thought, maybe you can throw in some filler in it. Throw in some pre-Joker telling jokes at a club and getting booed. Maybe I thought that might have made good story for the actual movie. I mean,
explore the Joker, don't explore Barbara Gordon.
Exactly. There's no
drop her.
Fuck about that. I don't even read comics. But
there's no point to explore Barbara at the Killing Joke moment. The Killing Joke is strictly for Batman and Joker. It's their story. It's what's going on between them two. And the whole Batman coming in talking about, we're going to have to, one of us is going to die at the end. I mean, this is the opening of the actual book. So let's explore the whole reason why maybe Batman's coming over there in the first place to say, this is, one of us is going to die. Why is he thinking that at this moment? At this moment of time, why is he coming to Arkham Asylum to tell him that? I mean, he could tell him that anytime he wants to tell him. It's like, we've been fighting each other for so long. One of us is going to die at the end. So I don't know. I just thought there was more to the story that could have been told in the actual adaptation of the film. So other than that, 1 out of 10, I give it a shit. I'm going to have to give it a 5. I'm going to give it a 5. I'm going to give it a 5.
Yeah.
Not a perfect story, not something that I want to watch again, but it was decent. I mean, it wasn't crudely drawn by a child, so I'll give it that.
5.
Get it.
Yeah.
Get it. You don't fucking like it, all right?
Okay, fair enough.
Well, Paul? Paul.
I'll be brief. I was excited to watch the film because Jacob told me there was a sex scene.
And it's about time.
Yeah, I know. I don't get it enough in my life. Can I live it through a fucking cartoon? No. I was let down because she just took her shirt off, showed her bra.
It's just you were let down for different reasons than a lot of the other fans.
Right, yeah.
It's not a hentai, man.
No. You asked me to watch it and give me a review. This is my base on it, okay?
Well,
Fair enough. By all means,
All
share
right.
your experience.
And as I was saying, took her shirt off. She took her shirt off. What was her name again? Barbara Gordon?
Yes, correct.
BG took her shirt off and saw a little bra action. I was like, all right, I'm getting warmed up. I like that. Then the camera panned up and like, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Next scene.
Did you expect it to be like a 10-minute sex scene?
Yes.
Jeez.
Like as Raph said, filler.
Now give it credit.
That's the filler that I wanted.
Batman did grab her ass.
Yes, he
and
did.
it was
I saw that. Yes,
a firm
you're
grab,
right.
too.
I'm sorry.
There's no half
That's what
measures with
really
the
got
Dark
me
Knight.
going. Then the
Handshake
brawl
approval.
thing was like, oh, now we're good. That was the initial, and then that was a fun. And but yeah, I was teased, and I didn't like that.
You like that?
And then a side note, I'm not a loser. I consider myself a winner. But okay, but that's what you think. That's not me.
No.
I love myself. Hey, I just said it right there. What did I say earlier?
This is you loving yourself. I like
Okay.
it.
All right.
Shitting on my new positive outlook in life. Fuck you. Okay.
1 out of 10. What you got?
Well, no. Well, before
Oh,
I do
you're not
that,
done yet.
okay, just one side thing. It just I saw I was scrolling. I had like a little viewfinder on the video I was watching, and then I saw a part like where she was standing in front of the mirror, and I saw a panty shot. I was like, "Oh, I like that," so I went to that. I saw that, and fuck, yet again, I was disappointed because that ass was no ass. That was a shitty animation, like Justin was saying. I was just poor, fucking attention to detail.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that about?
When WB hires you, they hire you to draw an ass, and they expect you to draw a good one.
I know, but
And that's not what we got.
Where are they? Yeah, they contracted to needs to be fucking rethink their life
Yeah.
because that was very devastating. I didn't like that. So, 1 out of 10. I don't really know. What's 7 minus 7?
Damn, you gave it a 0?
No, is it? Is that what it is?
That's
My
pretty
math is
fucking
wrong.
low, dude.
Yeah, that's really
Ah,
low.
yeah.
That's
I give
Independence
it-
Day resurgence numbers.
I remember you posted that. That shit was fucking great.
Oh, man.
I forgot your rating on that, but I saw that movie. He saw it with me too. That was awful.
Yeah,
We're
I saw that.
sidetracking,
That was very
but
bad.
I give it like a 1/4 out of 10.
Ooh.
You gotta be so fucking
That's a good
difficult.
number. What? I'm not that critical. Actually, I am pretty critical on
No,
things.
difficult.
Yeah, difficult critical.
1/4 out of 10. Okay,
Yeah,
that's fair
yeah,
enough.
That's a number.
Alrighty.
Look it
Well,
up.
my take on this was
Nobody cares.
I know, no one cares. I'm just talking to myself here. So I watched like the first 15 minutes of it, and I was like, man, this better go into the Killing Joke storyline, or I'm turning this shit off. But 30 minutes into it, I'm like, fuck. You know, like
movie
Batman
did you
finally
get?
shows up at Arkham Asylum to see the fake Joker. And I'm like, okay, maybe the villain in the first 30 minutes has something to do with Joker maybe buying the
that
theme
would've been
park.
good.
Maybe he ran into him in the past tense version of the story. Maybe he killed the Joker's wife.
Yep.
Maybe there's something about, and that's what I was hoping for.
Yeah, they're setting you up for some layers for something.
It wasn't shit though. It was literally just 30 minutes of filler, man. The
Not
sex
good
scene-
filler too. Not good
No,
filler.
and the sex scene was like there was really no part for it.
I know. See, you're just as disappointed as I was. I love it. Thank you, man. Somebody else sees me for
Different
why
reasons,
my
though, but-
1/4 out of 10
Different
review is
reasons.
legitimate.
And then
Thank you for backing it up.
at the okay, and then at the end of the book, it kind of leaves it up for speculation.
Oh,
it
yeah,
could be,
yeah.
it could be he killed him, he didn't, who knows? But that's up for the reader. And I love shit like that.
That is true.
But this movie, like, we're just best buds now. We're just gonna grab a beer, And there was nothing like that.
That's how I laughed, by the way.
Sure enough, the Joker's laugh did stop, and then
Yeah.
Batman's laugh
continues.
continued on, and that could be maybe.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this too.
Never mind.
When you present something to an audience and then you give them the conclusion and you don't run end title music, you don't run like the end credits music,
Right.
it means you think you just did something really profound. Because the only time I remember that ever happening was in special episodes of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where the episode would end and then they wouldn't have the theme music because there was the episode where Carlton finds out that racism is real.
Oh,
and then there was the
gun?
episode where Carlton had. This was the one where they were pulled over in Carlton, Kansas.
Yes,
and then there was the gun episode, which was about gun violence, and they didn't play the music. And at the end, we sat there thinking, "Holy shit."
Are we the asshole?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
You're the dick.
Or remember the episode?
No, you make a good point.
Remember the episode where Will Smith and tells Uncle Phil, like, why does he love me, man?
Yeah, the episode with Will Smith's father. They didn't play the ending theme music, and we were all we were all in tears.
I remember seeing that video spread on Facebook, and everybody tried to say, "Oh, this is based because Will Smith's real father wasn't involved." Like, no, do research. That's not true. You fucking idiots.
Although knowing Will Smith, you would think that that kind of makes sense. Will Smith is terrible, so I would understand if I was his dad that I would jump ship.
You sure about that? I think I kind of know Will Smith. He says he likes you,
but
he wants to arrest me.
But The Killing Joke didn't earn that.
It did not.
They didn't earn that Will Smith moment.
No.
And let me clarify: Will Smith's incredible. Nightmare on My Street is one of the greatest rap songs of all time.
Yeah,
but
I thought it was Wild Wild West, but I don't know.
They're all fucking good. They're all real good. But dude,
Miami.
You guys haven't seen Suicide Squad, and he's fine in that too, or whatever. But I can't disassociate him from Jaden at this point. So my feelings have kind of turned.
Did he do a theme song for Suicide Squad?
He didn't. That's why I hate him. That's why I'm fucking mad at him.
What the fuck?
He's the king of the movie theme song.
I don't fucking blame you.
Pissed.
And you know what? He didn't even do a theme song for Men in Black 3. He he allowed Pitbull to handle it for him.
Hey, you know what? At the end of Men in Black 3, there's
hand the
father
trophy
issues
over
there
to
too.
him.
Yeah.
There may be some father issues there if you think about it. At the end of Men in Black 3, there were some father issues.
Something's going on with Will Smith and his dad.
Now you're just fucking connecting.
Plus, Will Smith also said parents just don't understand. I mean, how does that factor in?
Oh man,
his dad didn't understand them. It's obvious. The clues are all there.
He's throwing that shit out
Okay,
there.
yeah, and then you got the Facebook false bullshit. Then it continues on to Men in Black 3. Okay, see, things make sense. Yeah,
but what I'm saying is that it's clear that they thought that they had created something profound and deep, and they hadn't. They just looked at a superior source material and adapted it.
Oh man, who are we but the fool for
So what
that?
do you give it?
Well,
What do you give it, man?
I give it. I'm with you guys. I told Raph earlier, like, it's 5 to 6, and 6 because I'm biased because Batman's my favorite comic book superhero. But it's hard to say 6, though. It's a hard.
I know
5.
that round ass is killing you, isn't it? I mean, unround ass.
It's not animation didn't do it for me either. You see Akira, you see Ghost in the Shell, those old school animes. They actually put work into that.
Dude,
this crap,
those
it's
were made
like
in 1998.
Yeah, it's like if we made it.
1998, dude.
No effort.
You got to think about that.
what pisses me off, and I'm kind of going to steer directions here. The Killing Joke was in the talks being made ever since Watchmen came out, man. They wanted to do that, and they wanted to have it because it was like they wanted to make it R-rated, which I don't see why you would want to make it rated R. There was no need for that. Maybe the sex scene. I don't get it. But
it's a regular newsstand comic. It's a one-shot comic.
I don't get that shit, man. So okay.
I never seen a newsstand comic.
They pushed for that, but Watchmen didn't do too well. So they're like, you know what? Maybe the viewers are not ready for an R-rated freaking comic book movie. So then it came back. I think it was in 2011 or 12. Whenever Dark Knight Rises, but then the shooting happened in the theater.
Yeah,
they scrapped that. They had this in their mind to make this movie so many years.
Yeah.
They had time to prep.
What the fuck? And then Mark Hamill comes here, and Kevin Conroy does this, and
right. I mean, Mark Hamill specifically wanted to make it. He had retired from the Joker for a time. He said the only thing he would really come back for at this point was to do the Killing Joke. They do it, and they do it. We can only say, at best, it was half-assed. It's not a real effort.
Yeah.
It's,
at best, half-assed.
Yeah. I guarantee it's just typical businessmen. They don't. It's business over art.
Yeah,
is what it is, and appreciation and passion. Yeah. Typical. That's how it is.
It's business over art, and it's cocaine over business.
Yeah,
because these motherfuckers are making these movies to finance their drug addiction. I'm telling you right now.
That's true. You got to go through a couple of phases. Yeah, I get it.
I mean, Justin, you said it best on your Facebook. I don't mean to call you out on like that or anything, but you bringing in the production, WB, and it's like it's really making me second guess, Warner Brothers here, man. Right. And it's all money, and they don't care what the fans want. And
because I can't think of another series where people kept giving the same entity a pass. Okay, Man of Steel. Oh, we'll give you a pass. Batman, Superman. Let's see. Batman, Superman. Oh, we'll give you a pass. Suicide Squad looks great. Suicide Squad comes out. I'm really thinking Wonder Woman might be good. You know, like when does it stop?
Oh my God! Please don't play that fucking theme song of hers, man. My God, I heard that today.
You don't like it?
The fucking.
That's not for you?
No, man. I'm fucking having nightmares. I fucking try to forget it, but no, thank you for reminding me. That is spot on. It's like I'm listening to it in the fucking movie. Your mouth is replicating what I heard in the goddamn fucking...
That's because Junkie XL hired me to perform on the
Oh my
soundtrack.
God, man. That was you, man. We were talking shit about that guy in the first episode.
You know, his score to that last Mad Max movie was the shit, though.
Oh, Mad Max was excellent, though. Yeah.
I don't know what happened with BVS.
Yeah. Well. Anyways. Anyway. I'm sorry.
Anyway.
I forgot I said it wrong.
So, well. Hopefully WB will get their act together, but we'll see.
Right.
That is a lost cause. So, yes, now to the
90s, baby.
main attraction. Yeah. If you don't... Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't know.
I was just going to mention something. I was just going to ask Justin. I was always fascinated. Well, fascinated. Why are you fascinated so much with the 90s? I was just curious.
Are you referring to my crusade last November for hashtag 90s?
Oh, I didn't see that, but I should have. That's just because...
Well, then how am I... so fascinated with the 90s? Like, in what way?
Well, because I remember in high school you always reference things from the 90s, especially, and then, you know, lately on Facebook, there's a lot of things that are 90s. I don't blame you, though. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't mean it in a bad way. It just seems like make a lot of references, like to films and music and TV shows, and I love that stuff. You know, we all grew up in the 90s.
Well, I think there's some legitimate reasons why the 90s is, like, still so revered in just on the internet and pop culture and everything. You have what many consider the greatest era of professional wrestling, right?
Yeah.
You have what many consider the greatest era of hip hop.
Yeah,
right.
Maybe.
And you have what many consider the greatest era of dial-up jerking off online on America Online, which was how I reached sexual maturity, right? But how that became my gimmick in high school is probably no more than that. That's just a really easy way to get a cheap laugh, and I've never been above anything or about anything more than cheap laughs. I don't like to have to think too hard to go for a laugh, and so if you could just reference some dumb shit like make a Last Action Hero reference that might land, that's going to be the easiest way to get over.
Speak to the drug dealer, please.
If you can drop a Jack Slater line here and there, you know. So that's probably where that came from. Just, I mean, in high school, I was about nothing more than just desperately seeking attention. So it really didn't come more from like any form of like. I really love the 90s and miss them because we went to high school in 1999. Yeah. So it was the fucking 90s. Yeah. You know, when we started high school, right? I don't know if you were all class of 03.
No.
Us. Yeah.
Except me.
Not Rafe.
What's...
Okay.
6.
But
2014, I think.
But yeah, But I always went to that. I always went to that. I was jamming Michael Jackson's "Dangerous" album in 11th grade and everything. But there is some legitimate reasons why the 90s holds up still. I mean, that's where most of, other than the fact that the 80s gave us most of these movie franchises that we're still milking, like Terminator and Predator and shit.
Yeah.
The 90s. It was the last stand for the old way things were. I mean, this is when you had everybody having internet access and stuff. To say that, and social media's changed everything, but the groundwork was laid in the 90s.
Yeah.
It was laid earlier in the 80s, but only like assholes were on there, you know.
Yeah.
But this was when we were all on board, you know.
Yeah. Right. And, the 90s came and helped us with that.
So moving deeper into the 90s, where did you want to go?
Yeah, and I was just going to comment. Yeah, I agree with that. I was just saying overall, like, what, you know, in the 90s, like, I guess, like everybody says, it was a simpler time, blah, 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 and all this stuff. I guess, you know, when you're younger, it is, but it really was because, like Justin said, this is before social media and everybody's so outraged about every goddamn thing they fucking hear or see. It's just ridiculous. It wasn't fast enough or quick enough. for our attention span to reach and make a big deal about it and add a hashtag fucking to it. And people to have their own narratives and spread a bunch of disinformation and all this. We did better without it. I'm sorry, I hate to say it, like as much as the internet has brought us closer to each other, but it's fucking distancing us like so much lately. It's there's just so much hate, and in the '90s, man, I can't. Oh man, it was just all love. It seemed like
about it in the '90s.
You know, what's that song? I will always love you, always forever. Man, that's the '90s. You know, it was like they have shit like that. Like, man, I'm in love.
But no, think about it. If I had a
I was
problem
comforting.
with somebody, if I had a problem with somebody, I'm not gonna fucking text you. I'm gonna have to call you, or I'm gonna have to meet you up. You know, and then we're gonna have a little
too to call them.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And a lot of people are high behind their technology to avoid confrontation.
Yeah, now we can big time.
You know, and that I don't know.
I don't know.
Loses the flavor there.
One thing, just for an immediate example, was last night was the Olympic opening ceremony, right?
Yes.
So I'm not even watching it. I haven't even bothered to turn my TV on, but I'm just like scrolling down Facebook, and all of a sudden, every website I'm like subscribed to on Facebook is making their commentary on the opening ceremony as it's happening, and they're all like trying to like. Brazil says that this motherfucker invented the airplane, and just trying to stir shit. Like, okay, I'm sure he fucking invented the airplane. But the thing is before this shit would have to happen as a species, we would have to have time to process it, and then the next week it'll hit the newsstand with some sort of expose explaining why the fucking Wright brothers are assholes.
Yeah.
But now it's just everyone's clawing to get the same story out. You've got 500 websites that offer the exact same material, and you see them try to dig a little deeper to make a more controversial headline that you might click, and it really it's not good for journalism.
It's not even journalism, man. They just, like you said, they're trying to spin it and make it their own narrative and do what they can to get more views or anything for the content.
Like, I feel like the information is so easily accessible that it's not like before, where maybe a trusted writer will earn your respect, and that's somebody that you'll turn to instead. People are just so desperately trying to frame it in an odd way that sounds controversial when there's no controversy to be had. And that's
manipulate
that's
our
full day to go through it all day long, and you're looking at your phone every 10 minutes. It's draining. And needless to say, did I prefer being 12? Yeah. You know, I don't know whether I'm remembering just the fact that I was 12 and the fact that Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad still came on, or if the world I lived in was a safer and nicer place. It's probably more of the former, but that said, there's still probably some serious problems in just the way that...
there was.
Damn, or VR Troopers.
Too many...
Which came first? VR Troopers or Superhuman?
I think as far as I remember it, Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad aired first, but I also remember that VR Troopers was an atrocity.
Yeah, it was an atrocity. Yeah.
Those non-Power Rangers Saban shows were out of control. Masked Rider. What was the one with like ghosts?
Shit.
Yeah, there was like motorcycles and ghosts. That's all I remember.
I just maybe back then I didn't have bills to pay.
Right.
I had nothing to worry about. I just came home. Fucking, got me my fucking, Sunny Delight and fucking watch Fox Kids after school. And it was that chick with the fucking, Stevie Ray Vaughan hat with the confetti coming down, and then that was my Ninja Turtles and
OP style. From
after school?
This was after school, man.
It
was like a window from 3 to 5, I think, right? And it was Fox Kids. I think it was called Fox Kids or something.
I don't remember this.
Yeah, Fox Kids Club.
Fox Kids Club.
Damn,
there you go.
That was after school, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that shit.
I do. Yeah, and
I didn't know what it was called though, but
yeah, they did Batman the Animated Series. Was on that block.
Clayface, baby. Ron Perlman.
Oh, that's another thing I was gonna say. Just in terms of like the 80s, which are well remembered, people generally, you look back on the 80s, very few people will tell you that was a high point for music. No matter what people really want, unless you really fucking loved speed metal, there wasn't
Nitro.
Yeah, Nitro. Yeah, Michelangelo. Yeah,
there wasn't much of. You're not going to find any major music critics that were like the 80s were the height. Cinema, they'll tell you the 70s were, or they'll tell you some previous decade, but they're not going to tell you that the 80s was the golden age of cinema when we were doing a bunch of Ernest movies. Ernest goes
I was looking that up the other day.
It's not like
an Ernest.
It's generally not
Like, how
considered
many
that.
Ernest films
But
was
the
there? That's a
90s,
lot.
I mentioned pro wrestling and I mentioned hip hop. Another thing that the 90s did probably better than any decade before or since was American animated cartoons, animated
Yes,
series.
Yeah.
absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Saturday night or Saturday morning cartoons.
I mean,
Yeah.
the
was
actual
amazing.
primetime cartoons. I mean, you had The Simpsons, which
Yeah.
aired
Oh,
in
yeah,
'89
right, yeah.
and before
Yeah.
that on Tracy
Let's
Ullman,
say
but
that,
let's
yeah.
consider it a '90s cartoon for the
Yeah.
purpose of this
It
podcast.
is.
89
really
is when it debuted,
Right.
really, but it's
in
mainly the
December of
90s. Yeah.
1989.
Yeah, actually,
For
the last
Christmas
month. You're
special.
right. Yeah, you got that right.
So when you really think about, take the best of the '90s, and you've got Batman the Animated Series, Gargoyles, X-Men,
Darkwing Duck.
Spider-Man,
Darkwing Duck.
those Disney cartoons, the
Duckman
Disney
on USA.
afternoon cartoons, like you're talking about, Darkwing Duck. Take
on the Duck series.
Mighty Max. Even I would consider
Mighty
one of the
fucking
better
Max.
ones.
Oh shit! I forgot
I'm
about
a
that.
foul.
I'll even throw Exo Squad in there.
Exo Squad.
And then you had the things that MTV was doing at that time with Beavis and Butthead,
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Thing.
and the Head,
Two cartoons, The Thing.
the Max,
No, The Thing.
the
cartoon.
thing,
Saved by the Bell,
know.
the Max.
Because I
that
remember
purple,
Channel 20
that purple
did it.
thing.
No, discard me.
All right,
Eek
the fucking
cat.
the thing.
Yeah. Trash.
Yeah, you had
Trash,
Oh
yeah.
no, yeah.
You don't remember Eek the Cat?
yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
Eat the
yeah,
Cat,
Eat the
and Eat
Cat.
the Cat was kind
Eat
of
the Cat?
kind of
Yeah.
a part of that.
Heathcliff.
No.
Yeah, Eat
That was
the
in
Cat.
the 80s, right?
Yeah,
No, sorry.
That was kind of a part of that. Tiny Toons revolutionized like
Yeah.
children's comedy series, so you also had that going on. Tiny
Good
Toons
time.
Animaniacs,
Tiny Toons
Eat the
Yeah.
Cat. What was the one with the dinosaurs? The Dangerous Thunder Lizards, the Terrible Thunder Lizards.
Live action
Terrible
cartoon.
Thunder, wasn't
Yeah.
it? The Terrible
Oh,
Thunder
you're talking about
Lizards?
dinosaurs.
There was plenty of those. Those were all on fire. You had the MTV ones, and then you had the
Live
Simpsons, and the King of the Hill came out. Daria came out at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But see, I remember in the morning that you had like Ghostbusters. You have
Slimer and the Real Ghostbusters continued into the '90s, and then Ghostbusters Extreme started later on.
Oh, shit, I don't remember that one.
And it wasn't until Pokemon landed in '98 that we started seeing more and more imported Japanese
Right.
cartoons, and the American ones went away, and the ones that remained were really horrific, like that Avengers cartoon that didn't have Captain America or Iron Man in it. And
I remember that one. Yeah,
and then the 2000s, you started to have you had some that people still liked. You had Teen Titans and stuff. But the 90s, I mean, I don't think you ever reached the heights of Batman the Animated Series and Gargoyles again.
Right.
Yeah. Those
fucking
are good.
Recess, dude.
Yeah.
I like
Recess.
Gargoyles.
So that's like
Uh,
three pretty significant things that the 90s did almost unquestionably better than any other decade.
Just
What about,
those shows, 3 shows I was saying, or just saying. I'm sorry, I mean 3 topics. I'm sorry for the 90s.
What about
Right.
video games?
Okay, I was gonna say that. Yeah, but did you ever watch The Critic?
Yeah, the
Oh,
Critic. I mean,
shit.
another
Yeah.
primetime sitcoms.
1993, 94.
And
John
primetime
Lovitz.
sitcoms are still good because you now have Rick and Morty,
Rick and
and
Morty.
Oh, yeah.
the unwatchable season 15 of Family Guy or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, with Adult Swim, you have a lot of great adult animated sitcoms and stuff. But yeah, The Critic was great too.
Yeah, it was that to me. That show was ahead of its time, and it didn't. A lot of people didn't understand that show. That comedy was brilliant, and I noticed like years later, I watch it older because I understand it, and a lot of the humor and the writing is on par with Futurama. So I didn't do the research, but it seems like some of the writers from The Critic maybe went to the Futurama because it's very similar. The way they there's certain jokes that are almost the same, and just the same writing. It just seemed all together, and it was great. That shit was.
Yeah, I don't know what the connection is between The Simpsons and The Critic, but they did have that crossover.
Oh
episode,
yeah.
So there's
Oh no,
clearly
because James L. Brooks, one of the producers of The Simpsons, is
so he produced
from
it.
the Critic. Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
It might have been him and maybe somebody else too, but yeah, that's why they have that crossover episode, the film festival. A man getting hit by football. So yeah. Oh my groin.
And then you take all that.
I'm sorry.
you take-
That's Hans Moleman. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Then you got what's his name? At the end when they make fun of it, what's his name? It's not Gerald Ford, is it? No, I forgot.
The president?
It's the guy from
And
Madden.
now we blah blah blah, big man getting hit by football. What's his name? Rainier at the end, because Mr. Burns is trying to He's like, I've got to win this time. I've bribed everybody in Hollywood, and he still loses.
Rainier Wolfcastle.
Yeah, Rainier Wolfcastle. Like he's doing he's introducing the award to like best movie of the year or something, and Mr. Burns is there, and it's just like, I've got to win this time. I bribed everybody in Hollywood. Damn it, I'm ashamed. I don't know the name of this other one. Anyways, whatever. It's just a reference from earlier from the episode. But yeah, the critic was if you ask me, as like one of those shows ahead of its time. So it was unappreciated. It was fucking great comedy.
Yeah, I watched it. I feel like it ran for at least a couple seasons.
No, I have it on my computer. It was on 2 seasons. It was on Fox, and then Fox canceled it, and ABC picked it up in the second season, and that was it.
Then there was a bunch of animated sitcoms that came out as soon as The Simpsons was a huge hit, and they did not land. If you guys recall Fish Police?
No,
I don't remember.
Or if you remember Capital Critters?
No. Nope. I was gonna say, do you remember Duckman on USA?
Duckman was good.
Jason Alexander, that shit was hilarious.
Duckman was good, and it came on after Weird Science, which was also good. Duckman was killing it on Saturday nights in the mid-90s.
Yeah, I remember I don't know how that didn't last that long either, but that was some good stuff. That was some good adult humor too. That shit was hilarious.
When's the last time anybody watched USA Network?
Yeah, I know. iRobot is only, or no, I'm sorry, iRobot.
Mr. Robot.
Mr. Robot. Whoops, I'm sorry.
But they did in the 90s.
They
had a decent children's programming block with like Two Stupid Dogs?
Was it
Two Stupid Dogs?
That was on USA.
I know American Gladiators.
I can't remember. That came in later night during the week.
And
then, of course, WWF, when it was WWF. I'm sorry. When you sued.
Language.
Fuck that. What's language?
American Gladiators, and then they kind of reprised it back in 2013 or 2012.
It was like 2009 during the writing strike.
Oh, was it?
And that's why they brought it on, and it was actually not bad.
I remember Hulk Hogan was.
Hulk Hogan was co-host with Muhammad Ali's daughter.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Muhammad Ali's daughter. But no, quick question, Justin. Do you remember how long was Goldberg in WCW? Like, when was his starting role? Do you remember what
spring
year?
of 1998.
98. Okay.
That's when he came in, and I think he won the World Heavyweight title from Hulk Hogan in late that summer.
Okay, because I remember watching a little bit of Worldwide, WCW Worldwide, and then they still had to, like, Goldberg was coming in for the streak, and I forgot how many matches he won. But, of course, Worldwide wasn't, like, live television. It was just, like, repeats of what happened throughout the week or the month or something like that. So.
Losers.
But I don't know, man. It's like when I was younger, I remember getting up early in the morning.
No, you can't call a 90s show reminiscing about 90s nostalgia. You can't call people talking about wrestling losers, because wrestling was at its peak in the 90s.
Oh, no, I wasn't calling them necessarily losers. I was just saying that they were repeating during the week. It wasn't a live show. I was just calling producers losers, not them.
Yeah,
not the
but
wrestling themselves.
To be fair, though, WCW was running live programming long before WWF did, because Nitro was live and Raw was usually like a week old, if not longer.
Oh man,
and
I am an idiot. I was a Raw fan.
And at one point, on Nitro, they wanted to secure the ratings for the main event, so they went ahead and spoiled the ending of the Raw match since it had already happened, which people consider a dick move. But I'm like, well, that's what allowed WCW to exist as long as it did. So.
I remember growing. I think I remember growing up watching a little bit more of WCW than WWE, man. And I didn't start watching a lot of WWE. Well, no, I did. I watched a lot of WWF when like the Hitman Heart Foundation back in the early '90s and stuff. And
did you ever go to your like neighborhood video store and rent the Coliseum
videos? Yes, with the
fucking in your house pay-per-view.
What's that one guy's name? I forgot. He will give you WWE the WrestleMania arcade game cheats at the end. The VHS tapes. Fuck, what's his name? Fucking with the earring. He had an earring.
Hey, that's one other thing though that the '90s have that ended after the '90s is arcades. Really?
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you were going to an arcade in the 2000s, it was to play Dance Dance Revolution.
That's it.
Or to be sad. You just maybe if you were sad, you might walk around an arcade, or to go play like the 20th anniversary Miss Pac-Man machine.
Can I be honest with you about something? I got a confession to make. Sometimes on my day off, I go to the Hempstead and go to Speedy's.
Yeah,
and I just jump on some arcades and I play Miss Pac-Man I got like $2 and I'll just throw it in coins and that'll last me about an hour because they're quarter machines.
You know what's a fun way to lose your money at Speedy's is I don't know if they still have it, the that big ass arcade based on that game show that was hosted by Bobby's World.
It's what we play at David Buster's.
What's in this fucking case?
What's that
50-50? No,
it's
like Let's Con Me or
something.
But they have that arcade still.
Yeah.
Deal or No Deal?
Deal or No Deal.
Yeah.
That shit's fun as hell.
Yeah, it's hilarious, but it's so fucking rigged.
Yeah. You just lose your money real quick.
Fucking screen when you lose. Yeah. I was gonna say I loved Howard Finkel. No, not Howard Finkel, but Jim Ross.
Oh my god!
Still, my favorite match of all time is Razor Ramon versus the Heartbreak Kid.
Yes. Which one? WrestleMania 10 or SummerSlam?
Eddie?
No. The ladder match.
The ladder match.
There are two ladder matches: SummerSlam and WrestleMania 10.
Oh.
Which one is HBK wearing some teal type tights, or is he wearing the hearts, the white and red?
Because it was white.
White and red. That's WrestleMania 10.
Yeah,
and that was the best ladder match out there.
Fucking that
up until the Hardy Boys came.
I was gonna say, dude.
Really?
I was gonna say until the Hardy Boys were like 16 years old and like ready to die for glory.
Yeah, those
damn.
are
Okay,
crazy.
I was thinking of Hell in a Cell or Cage Match, and I just love when
Mankind kind of set it up.
Well, I was gonna say,
I
just loved it when he fell down on the announcer's table, the commentary's table.
Yep. And he gets slammed through
I'm
the
not trying to
cage
be
as
what's called morbid or anything. It just seemed funny to me when I was a kid. Like he's like all bloody, his like body's lifeless and falls face on the table, just breaks. And it's always the Mexican commentary table every time. They're the first one to go.
So yeah, I would say that that's even another aspect. I'm just still trying to find it because yes, if we were born in any decade, we would be having this discussion about how fucking 15 to 20 years ago things were so much more fun for us because we were kids and everything was handed to us. Yeah. Okay, if we're looking for actual reasons why the 90s stands out, look at the brutality we're talking about in wrestling.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist anymore. Not on that level, not in mainstream wrestling. And we're talking about, I mean, that's just how severe things were. And then you had insane gimmicks, people who would introduce themselves as the homicidal, suicidal Sabu, right?
Yeah.
And you had people doing these hardcore matches and getting bloody regularly on what was then considered a kid's show, you know?
Yeah,
you're right,
that's no, you make it.
And now things are pretty, children are kind of shielded from that. They're kind of, treated. I don't know if they're treated better or whatever it is, but you're kind of like not. You're considering your audience more.
It's filtered a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
it seems like, well, like I said, I just because probably internet and social media, but kind of basically what you're saying. I don't know, just how offended and all this stuff, and people are outraged apparently all the time.
People are more butthurt nowadays, man.
Yeah.
That's what it is, man.
But I think that maybe in the 90s they were kind of, but then again, like maybe they weren't, but I think people just made it a big deal and people wanted to side on it. But now they can be vocal on it.
Yeah, they didn't have a platform.
Exactly, because of social media, because you got YouTube and Facebook. Instagram, all these Twitter, like all this stuff, you can be heard instantly. Yeah. Like I fucking hate that goddamn wall. I'm gonna put a hashtag, move it on it, and just fucking bring it down.
Yeah, I think I've yet to use
because
hashtag.
I say so, and I'm doing it for a fucking like and a view or whatever it takes to get me, to get heard, to have a voice to it. So, but back then we didn't have that, or people were unaware of it, and just the idea of we can do that now. And it's not as people are just more calmer and seem like I don't know. I could be wrong in that, but it's just how things turned out. It's just so.
And I agree on that because I mean, like you said, with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the whole gun episode, or how
are we going back to that?
No,
that is so fucking funny.
No, I'm trying to get this. I'll make a point here because they won't have those types of topics in today's episode. Like I don't know if you remember, there's an episode of Family Matters where Eddie gets jumped and he comes home and he's all bloodied and busted because some gang jumped him.
Yeah.
They will not talk about that in today's sitcoms anymore, man.
No, you're right.
Those are real stories.
And
now a couple things would happen if they tried, and I don't know what sitcoms people watch now. The Goldbergs. I don't know what the hell people are watching.
Oh,
but
Goldberg.
But if the Goldbergs come home and they're like, oh my god, jumped by some LA gangs. things or whatever. The minute you do that, and now I don't know why people don't do that. Maybe it's just that it was, it's considered cheesy now. Yeah. But if you do that, you've got a million think piece blogs written about how it was insensitive or whatever, and that's fine. Everyone has the right to, point out when people are not taking the time to understand a situation properly. But if you do that, also you've got 1,000 memes about your show about how stupid and corny it is, right? So it's like maybe it's safer just not to tackle those issues, but they certainly didn't shy away from them in the 90s. And now I don't know if that Family Matters episode led to a significant decrease in gang violence, but at least they were trying to do something quasi important.
Exactly. I was going to bring it because all the shows on a TGIF lineup, they would have like morals and stuff like that. And of course,
getting jump for your shoes.
They would have they would make it to where, like us, we were young to understand what was going on. And if you're going through a situation, anything like that, it would it would give you insight to understand and how to go through that.
I did catch a special episode of Girl Meets World that explained that some children have difficult childhoods. So for what it's worth, on Disney Channel's holding you down.
Oh man, I gotta see that episode. Then I gotta reevaluate my life.
Michael Jacobs, who is out there, I think he's still the producer of Girl Meets Jacobs. He did Boy Meets World. I think he keeps it real, man. Because Boy Meets World had the same concept, how they tackle real issues. And the fact that he said TGIF, man, I remember, man. Fridays.
Step by step.
I remember Fridays, man. I was like, "Screw you guys! I'm going in the house at 7:00. Yeah, I'm watching my TGIF.
Always excited.
I got to get up early for Saturday morning cartoons.
Marketing, man, that worked.
I don't know if it was just the kid in me or if it was just like the lifestyle where we're living in.
Yeah, Patrick Duffy, man. It's hard to say no to.
Right. Well, I think Duffy, that's another thing. Is
I want his hair.
So whatever's the follow up to TGIF is. There's no TGIF experience. There might be single shows and Fuller House is on Netflix, and for whatever that's worth, you don't access it the same way. There's a certain I don't want to use a word like giddiness to describe me as a man. But when you're a child and it's Friday and you're off the bus and it's like, it's Friday, that means you're getting a pizza unless your family is shit and you can't even afford a fucking pizza. But like normally you're getting a pizza because it's Friday. You probably can rent a game. I could always rent a game on the weekend.
Me too.
Hollywood Video.
After we see a movie, we'd always rent a game. Go to Blockbuster.
So you're getting a game. You're getting a fucking pizza and it's TGIF. And that means that at 7 sharp you're sitting down and you're not leaving until 9. It's a huge deal. But now kids load up their shows whenever they want to. Fuller House, it dropped all on one day. It doesn't stop for them. There's no special engagements that are interesting, but every Friday was interesting to us because we got to take a step-by-step journey and all that. And you can always tell how somebody's 90s went if they're in our age group, by when they stopped watching TGIF. Because if you were watching Full House and Step by Step in 1992, understandable, that's everybody. Right. If you're watching Boy Meets World into the mid-90s, that's fine. That's when we're starting to go through puberty or whatever. Everybody's doing that. If you were like me, and you were watching Clueless, and you were watching the one about the kid, about Teen Angel, about the kid who eats a hamburger he finds under his bed and dies and becomes an angel, then your life was not on track, and you didn't pan out, and something went wrong in between Step by Step and Teen Angel. And I'm sensing that I'm alone on that.
That's a good transition, though. I'm speaking. Two people were absent.
No, I don't think I watched Clueless on TV.
I watched Clueless.
I went up to
I heard about that one.
I think George Lopez and then
Paul Rudd.
He wasn't in the show.
He wasn't in the show.
Oh, the show. You're talking about the show.
Yeah, it's a TGIF show.
Oh, joke's on you now.
They did another one, Teen Angel, and then they did one about a kid who his like uncle gives him a lamp with a genie in it, and it was like, oh fuck, there's a genie.
Damn, I should have really watched the show then.
I kept with it for too long.
I remember the renting games thing.
Something went wrong.
The renting games.
Oh man, I remember.
That brings it back though. Yeah, I remember the renting games. I remember my brother used to hide video games behind like the inappropriate the game title because he's like, I'm coming this Friday. I'm gonna get that game again.
Yeah.
So hopefully by next week it's still there.
Okay,
he would go and it would still be there.
I'm going to describe a feeling that you guys have at some point all experienced, and then I'm going to describe an even better feeling that at some point you guys all experienced.
Well, all right, go ahead.
So you're high school age or older, I imagine, because fucking none of us are that smooth. So the first time that you've got a girl, you're either in her room or she's in your room, and you're like, this time it's actually happening. And clothes come off, and you're like, your brain starts to go, because we grew up in the transition from when I started looking at porn, you had to go into your friend's house and go to their parents' master bedroom, and you had to go to the bottom drawer of the one that their dad used.
Yes.
And that's where the VHS porn was.
Underneath the socks and everything.
Yeah. It was all the way underneath it. And then
it's
you
like
would
at
find
the very end of the drawer.
Then you would find the movies behind the green door, and you would find the film Candy Stripers. And anyway, so when you're finally at that point, when you know nothing's going to stop you from getting laid for the first time, there's a certain amount of excitedness that you feel. Now, when you're 10 years old, and you've been reading EGM, and you've been reading GamePro for months, and you know that something's coming, and you're not quite sure when, because games didn't have hard street dates back then.
Right.
Yeah.
You just knew that this was coming out. Now, all of a sudden, it's Friday, and you ask your mom to take you to the local video store, and you walk in, and you expect maybe you'll rent the same game you've rented 1,000 times. Maybe you'll rent Mortal Kombat 2. Maybe you'll rent something that you've played before, and that or maybe something new will be out that you haven't heard of. But you walk up there, and you see the box, and that motherfucker says Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Yes.
and you see Knuckles on there, and you know it's finally here, and you didn't even know it was going to be there. You can't lie to me and tell me that wasn't more exciting than the first time you dropped some panties.
No, I'm there with you.
I haven't experienced anything since that.
No,
that comes close.
For me, it wasn't Sonic.
Yeah,
it was Royal Rumble.
Royal Rumble
for me with
for
fucking
Genesis?
Razor Ramon, Papa Shango, and fucking I don't know. I remember going
Just
to
when
Funko,
because you knew it was because you knew, but you were reading about the game, right? Now, even now, you don't even need to play the game. You can just go on YouTube and you can just watch someone beat the game. But back then, do you remember those horrible pictures? They would try to take a still of the game. It was a little screenshot, but it looked like shit. They couldn't print it right.
Yeah.
Especially if the game was in motion.
Mine was Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong Country?
When it got released Super Nintendo, even re-renting it was exciting.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck yeah, we're going to re-rent it. Hell yeah, we're going to have fun this weekend.
Right. Because that game was huge.
Yeah.
Long. I mean, it was actually long. It
I
took a long time to
remember
play.
going to like Toys R Us and then just looking at the games that were out, and of course there weren't the hard copies or anything. There were like little pictures of the games,
Slits.
and you actually had to get the slips and go to their cashier. And
That's right. I remember that shit. Yeah,
and I was like,
Resident Evil 2.
Just that long wait before the cashier goes and gets
To
the
go
game.
get it.
Like,
Jesus, Enrique.
Toys R Us, when they had those long ass aisles.
yes.
Do you remember before? Because now they
I wouldn't know anymore because I don't want to go in there and be a fucking
now
pedophile.
they have just like it's like a
I
circle.
can't do it.
Yeah.
Too many
It's
odd
broken
looks.
up into these little like
Shit.
Right. It's just not even exciting. Granted, I shouldn't be at Toys R Us, but even if I were a kid, that something about that long ass aisle, because there was only one aisle I cared about, because I didn't play with RC cars and shit. I didn't. All the fucking Barbie doll aisles are useless to me, and I didn't have enough money for the fucking video game aisle unless it was a special my birthday. Right?
Exactly.
So there was one aisle, that action figure aisle, and it had everything.
Yes.
That aisle had X-Men, and you keep going, and it's got wrestling, and you keep going, and it's got some shit you never heard of before, and it had like those weird Godzilla dolls that were like 12-inch size.
Yes.
And then you, if you ever got into the, who was the other Japanese character? Ultraman. Yeah, they were selling those Ultraman toys in the early 90s. Just you would find shit too. And it took forever. And the only reason I wanted to go to Toys R Us was that one aisle, but it took forever to go all the way up and down that aisle. I feel like Ghostbusters toys were like huge for like 10 full years.
Yeah.
And that's also an experience that I can't try as much as I can with my $6 McCormick's vodka. I cannot replicate that experience. I can't even come close.
Sad.
It is sad.
I mean, we come to that part. We've grown into that age that We can't replicate what you're describing.
Well, here's the thing.
Nothing will fucking match that.
Well, here's the thing. When you're growing up and you're aging, you're supposed to also be increasing like your position in society, and I haven't done that.
Up big time.
Well, I mean, honestly, fair enough. Friday nights, what I look forward to, maybe catching an episode of Bill Maher. On
Friday?
HBO.
I thought he was Sundays.
Oh, it's Sunday. What I watch on Friday
is see, you could watch it whenever though.
Yeah, exactly.
A Friday isn't what it was. Like you said, Saturday morning's not what it was.
It wasn't. No.
There's no urgency at all.
Yeah,
but I do have.
In other words, there's really nothing to look forward to. Like you would look forward to these things. Like I'm having a shitty week. Oh, hey, Friday's TGIF. Oh, fuck, I can't wait for that. At least I got that going. No, you can't say that no more.
I was watching Dinosaurs the other day.
It holds up like a motherfucker.
Mama.
Dude, that show is smart as shit.
That show was like what?
I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
I think it was a Jim Henson puppeteer engineer.
Would you turn that racket down, Dad? Don't have a Stegosaurus, man. Sorry, The Simpsons when they made fun of it. I just thought about it. Hey, it's 90s related. I'm sorry.
Dinosaurs was a ripoff of Roseanne, I think.
Yeah,
it was a red flannel. It was a red flannel.
Yes, if for no other reason than because the dad rocked the red flannel like John.
Yes.
What was his name?
John Goodman.
Yeah,
I forgot his character
Mr.
name.
Goodman. Yeah.
Dan Connor.
Dan Connor.
Hey, do you remember when you were a kid and Dan and Roseanne would get into a fight and you'd like go to your room? Dude, that shit was so real, dude. Because my parents didn't fight either, dude. They just like they didn't fucking fight, I guess, or they went to the car or some shit. I never saw them fight. So like when Dan and Roseanne fucking Connor went at it, I was like, things aren't good anymore.
My family's broken right now.
That's
man.
pretty
shit. Yeah, I remember that, dude.
Such a connection to a show, man. I thought I never had that.
No, you know what it was? It's because when Dan got fucking pissed, he got pissed.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what it was.
Because he went from 0 to 10.
Yeah, like that.
Damn it, Rosie! Like,
give me a fucking beer.
I can't bring my voice to that level or whatever. I can't even yell. Like when I yell, it's not even like no one has ever cared. Like when I've tried.
Nobody's ever cared.
Yeah, when I try to like yell at somebody, they're like,
fucking dying.
No one takes it serious.
Leading the dead. Shut up, man. Look at this comedian over here.
Just Justin, don't worry.
Just Justin.
Just laugh. He'll go away. He'll go away.
He'll tire himself out.
Oh shit, man. Oh, nice. Yeah, fucking.
Yeah, but I mean, clearly there was more to it than just the fact that we were young and we liked to play video games and watch television. The fact we were, as a country, we were going through a huge tech bubble,
boom,
right? Yeah, tech boom. That didn't hurt. You know, that didn't hurt things.
No.
You had cable television. I didn't fucking hang out with people who didn't have cable.
Huh?
I was gonna bring that up because we're talking about wrestling and whatnot. My dad had a few of them. It was hilarious. I'll make just a quick story. Like I remember, like when he was around in Vegas, I'd invite him over. Like we would watch a wrestling event. But I'd hook up the black box was hooked up in my parents' room, and I would just take it and hook it up in my room, and we'd watch it and this and that, and they would leave. My dad's like, "Oh, hey." He was telling me, okay, he's like, you're done in there? I was like, yeah, I am, but actually it's gonna be on repeat. I want to record it. I didn't record it the first time, and I want to record it this time. So like, but it's coming. It's like 2 or 3 hours long. Do you mind if I just have it in my room? It's okay. That's fine. Just give it to me tomorrow. But here's the thing. I had an ulterior motive here.
Right. I know what it is.
I already know what it is too.
Motherfucking Spice Channel.
Network.
Spice Channel 77. Yeah. None of this scramble bullshit. I get my once a month chance to fucking do it. I'm going to record an 8-hour block on a VHS tape on fucking
Thank you,
AP extended play, so I can fucking record as much as I can because during the goddamn day, that shit, there was no audio. But after 10, woohoo, the audio kicks in. They would, for some reason, because I guess kids like me would be curious about sex, and they would turn off the actual audio from the films and they would replace it with this smooth jazz, and that's what everybody gets confused every time they heard the smooth jazz. Like, I think porn music. Fuck you. Smooth jazz is awesome.
How'd you record it though? How'd you record it? SP, LP, or
I just said it. EP or extended play or is either that or LP. I can't remember. Long play or extended play. Oh, okay. Whatever the longest was, so I can
that's
record.
LP, I think that's what people.
Are you
6
sure?
hours.
It was like 6 to 8 hours.
To this day, I still have a Spice Network VHS that I recorded.
What? Oh my god!
I still remember the name of the movie.
Let me borrow it, because like when we borrow, with me, his older brother with Vega, when we borrow films, we would say, "Hey man, can I borrow a cartoon?" Yeah, that's what we call it. We call it cartoons.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
I still have it.
It's
a bunch. It has a bunch of them. It also, one of them is called A League of Their Moan. I'm not making that shit up.
That is awesome.
And dude, when I was
excited just for lesbian fucking scenes.
You had a good little thing going there though, where you could borrow your parents' black box and kind of play it off. Yeah. We didn't even have that. Me and my brother were just like, all right, look, if we order the Spice Network, now I'm sure they're gonna get a bill, and it's gonna say Spice Network on it. But we were like, but maybe maybe it'll say maybe it'll just say pay-per-view. Yeah. We could play it off like we ordered anything. Yeah. So we ordered it.
Yeah, that's a good motive.
We rolled the dice. We ordered it. we watched it. We recorded it. And then, like a month later, we get confronted by my dad. And he's like, you guys ordered a pay-per-view? And we were like, yeah, we ordered The Crow. He's like, oh, you ordered The Crow? And like, I was like, oh, okay, he knows. But see, we also knew this about my parents. They would be willing to confront you to a degree, but they're never going to take you down and say, now let me explain cocks and pussies to you, son. They were never going to take it to that level. So they just confronted us saying like, we know what you did, so kind of don't do it again, but you're not in trouble for having viewed the Spice Network. The Spice Network is the natural inclination of all men is to view the Spice Network, right. So you're good. But yeah, I mean,
I feel sorry for people that missed out on that era. Jesus.
I was in the same boat as Justin. I just had to like say, fuck it.
Did you just order it?
No.
Out of nowhere?
You just yell it, fuck it, I'm going to order it.
Wasn't it
there's no subtlety to whatsoever.
Wasn't it like $7.99 for like
it was something like that.
5 hours of it?
I was like, Justin did it, fuck it, I'm doing it.
That's like near $7.99 in the 90s. That's like nearly $20.
No, right now I think it's like $14.99 or something.
No, I'm talking about in the 90s money, but now with inflation, that's like nearly $20. You're fucking out of your mind.
Y'all guys got to play with it. I didn't. I had to ask.
Did you have a chastity belt? We get to play with it?
No, you bastard! I didn't have access to order.
Or your hands tied?
Guess
no,
what?
I didn't have access to order it, so I had to be like,
AOL came to our lives.
Y'all guys got any cartoons?
So you said that to us? But you were in the club though.
I was
like me and Vega were in a
Vega was in the club. He was allowed to ask.
You had to acquire a subscription.
I had to fucking steal it, like
fucking ass.
Yeah.
Well, then we also just had Cinemax, so that means that every night
Cinemax,
you put
Emmanuel.
You put Emmanuel in space on there, or you got I don't
know if you guys remember that. I do.
No, I remember Emmanuel. I remember all the Emmanuels. And then on HBO, remember HBO would rope you in because the name of the show was Real Sex, so you're like, sex? That's the best.
Yes.
And then you watch it, and they would always find the worst fetish to explore. It was always something about how old people active and still having sex in some weird club or whatever, and it was all or like this is this episode about people who fetishize fat people or whatever, and like, I can almost kind of jerk off to this, but you guys are really making
that's
it
really
difficult,
insulting,
guys.
because it's really limited. That's all you got. I mean, you took the gamble, then that's what you got to fucking watch.
I'll give you a gamble, man. I remember changing the channel 99, the TV Guide channel, going to the 90s. HBO, when it scrolls to fucking HBO 10 minutes later, and hopefully it's playing a movie that had nudity in it.
Well, at least
watch it, and hopefully I get some action.
Well, that's why you got to watch. You got to watch. Yeah, you got to watch for when they added the little V for violence and the N for nudity.
Exactly.
Because one alone wasn't good for me. I needed both.
Both, yeah.
I'll get bored of one after a certain amount of time, so you got to throw the other at me. Because
what did it for me was it wasn't complete nudity or anything. It was I think it was what's the one with Jamie Lee Curtis and Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Oh, True Lies. Yeah. Oh man, hard on instantly.
Yeah,
my God.
That scene in the
take off your clothes.
Yeah, take off now.
Now do it again. Slowly.
But, that was like 95, maybe?
Yeah, 95, 96.
94 when
94?
Lion King came out, because I remember seeing Lion King while my brother was watching True Lies.
Nice. Best of both worlds.
Yeah. I mean, I caught True Lies on fucking VHS, and they played it on cable for the next 10 years. So
hell yeah.
I was in any danger.
Yeah, do it now.
Oh, man. Yeah, those were days.
Good decade.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton on sax.
Yeah, Bill Clinton was on sax for the whole decade. So
on sax and sex.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that was great because that literally right when we were all going through puberty, like sex hit mainstream with with Bill Clinton.
Nice, I'm not the only one. Bill Clinton, the president's fucking doing it,
right?
Yeah,
and I was on the internet.
How much insulting can that be?
And you could read the whole Ken Starr report or whatever, or just the best bits of it. And it was just to this day, I'm just like, oh, some cigars.
Monica,
multiple
cigars,
uses.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. When I first actually got internet, one of the first things I looked up was Sable in Playboy.
Sable, yeah.
I remember I think she hit like 98 and Playboy 98. I think
Sable.
Yeah, that was Mark
nice.
Marrow.
Yeah.
It's a wild band.
She's got to be dead.
It seems so.
Probably. Yeah. I wouldn't put it past her.
He's pretty serious, folks.
Well, I mean, remember we were in high school when Miss Elizabeth died, and also Kurt,
Lex Luger's like, "What the fuck happened?"
And Kurt Hennig.
Oh, Kurt Hennig.
Yeah.
Yeah, he I think OD as well.
Yeah.
Or he did the what was his finisher?
I don't think that's what happened. Most people don't die. The only people who have ever died.
Those really go past these show.
The only people who have ever died from a professional wrestling finisher are Chris Benoit's family members.
I feel I'm laughing, guys.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Off the turnbuckle.
Feel Inseguras and you're fucking out for you're done. That's it. Life is
Benoit.
over. I'm sorry, Inseguris. I'm pronouncing it.
I saw.
You totally missed the whole NWO aspect of wrestling. After we were talking about the wrestling.
Latino
which
or
was
older.
Which was like the most. Dude,
Hands up high.
I rocked the LWO shirt.
You did rock the
all through high
LWO
school, so
logo.
let's just give some credit to La Parka. Let's give some credit to Eddie Guerrero. Let's give some credit to Rey Mysterio Jr. And I'll go ahead and give some credit to Silver King as well. So
What about Juventud?
Juventud was the shit.
He was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
He was up there, man. Damn.
Psychosis. How good were those Aki THQ wrestling games? WCW and WWE Revenge.
Anchorman.
Maya Inca.
Anchorman.
You got WrestleMania 2000.
We first started
No Mercy.
No Mercy.
WCW vs. the World and WCW and WWE
No,
Revenge.
WCW versus the World was it THQ? I remember WCW versus the World was one of the first wrestling games on PlayStation platform, and that ring was like fucking a size of a football field, man. I don't remember if it had Sting.
The PlayStation version was terrible, I think.
Okay, that's the one I played on. I mean, that was fucking like it had a big ass wrestling ring. It had all the fucking wrestlers around the world.
But before that, all of the wrestling games were just like basically like fighting games. They were like Street Fighter.
Yeah,
remember? And they finally figured out how to work the actual 3-count aspect into it to make it, so that those games are cool because if you're playing Mortal Kombat and you're low on health, you're gonna die basically. But in those wrestling games, you could make a comeback, a wrestling style comeback, whether it needed you to go under the ring and get a baseball bat. Or to just reverse somebody's finisher one time. It was enough to give you that momentum.
But see, the thing about the THQ, THQ was great, but I don't know who did these. I don't know if it was Acclaim, but what I did love was like on Nitro and Thunder, I could powerbomb somebody that was way across the other side of the ring.
You just flat out did not have a Nintendo 64, did you? Because you're name dropping Nitro and Thunder, and no one gives a fuck about this game.
He's hiding because I had WrestleMania 2000, and I did have the NWO versus WCW or Revenge, No Mercy.
Yeah,
Why
there was
doing
Revenge.
this?
There was Revenge as well. I think.
Yeah, WCW and NWO Revenge.
Yeah, I did. But no, before that, I think I did have PlayStation, and it was like Nitro.
I'm sorry, I'm talking shit about you. I didn't have an N64 either. I fucking hated it.
I had an N64 though.
I know, but I was calling you out if you didn't though. But I was talking shit
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
I didn't have one.
you didn't have one. You had Raw. I remember
Yeah,
that was a
you
big
damn
deal.
right.
I remember
Fuck
that was a big deal.
N64.
That was a
I had
big deal.
Raw on Sega.
Raw was a big deal.
Did you ever play that? It was on Super
I remember,
Nintendo
yeah,
as well.
Raw.
I played it later.
No. I'm talking about Raw. What was it? Warzone.
Warzone
Oh,
was the first one
on PlayStation, yeah.
Warzone and Attitude.
Warzone and Attitude. You remember that?
Yeah, with their insane ass combos.
Oh,
They're
but
impossible.
the awesome, but the created wrestler moves. I'm sorry, created wrestlers, and I would just make nothing but fat wrestlers. That's it, and based on my friends, and they would I would make every single one of them fat, even if they weren't fat. And then I would put a match on, a random match, like let's say like a triangle match, and I put it on. I don't know if you remember when you play. I don't know if it was on Warzone or Attitude, but mainly Attitude. I would do it on Attitude, and I would put like it would give you like the time limit, what kind of match, and then when we're at, and then I would do that, and I put like for like 2 minutes, and then I put it on simulation. I would get drunk in the later years, and then watch my friends fight fat as fuck on Attitude.
Dude, I was doing that, dude. I was doing that as late as 2010, playing SmackDown vs. Raw on PS3. And I was drinking. I was pouring myself some Gentleman Jack.
Damn, nice. I see. I can't remember the last time I did it. I was living in San Diego, and it was in 2007, and I bought WWE. I bought Attitude. I bought it on Amazon, and the shipping cost more than the fucking game. Yeah. I'm not joking. The game was like $1, and shipping was like $3.
Did you ever play the terrible EA or WCW games, WCW Mayhem, and WCW Backstage Assault, the first wrestling game with no ring?
ECW
Hardcore. Like Backlash or Royal Rumble?
To Attitude.
Yeah.
I think
it was Royal Rumble for Dreamcast. Yeah, I still remember thinking I had my whole life ahead of me, but I was wrong.
Right, yeah, exactly. You set the fuck back. Like, you shut the fuck up.
Set the bar so fucking high,
I know. Too. And then when we discovered the blood code to turn the blood on, like it was supposed to be what, like sweat?
Yep.
Or what it was? Or like or dirt? I thought it was dirt at first.
It was sweat.
Was it? Oh, Super Nintendo?
Yeah, Super Nintendo
Genesis already
Super Nintendo didn't even have
you did the code and you got blood.
Oh, only Genesis had that?
Only Genesis
Super Nintendo, you couldn't even put the code in.
Oh, it's because of the fucking Nintendo. Yeah. That's why. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, you're good.
Okay.
We're good.
Rambling on. Right.
Put an
end.
Yeah, that'll wrap us up here.
Have we been recording?
Yeah, we've been recording.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you fucking serious?
I'm a fucking ninja here.
I don't like what I said.
That's all right.
That's fine.
But
final thoughts on the '90s. There,
yeah,
we all
like Jerry Springer would do.
Jerry
Springer, a staple of the '90s.
Keep it in the '90s. Yeah.
Or let's do what Ricky Lake would do. And
I'm more of a or more of a Maury Povich. But anyway,
I was actually more of a Jenny Jones because she was actually pretty hot.
Williams?
Jenny Jones was hot.
Jenny Jones. What about
Montan Williams?
What about Sally Jesse Raphael?
Sally was good.
Oh, man.
Sally invented the terrible teens. Really.
Sally, please, Mr. Adams, would you stop calling? Hello, Sally.
It's fair enough to say that we all love the '90s and wish we can get a DeLorean and go back into the '90s, maybe.
Yeah. I think women are easier to deal with back then in the '90s.
With their poofy hair.
Yeah, they were a lot easier to deal with when I didn't have to deal with them.
That's true. That's what I meant, because they're absent from my life. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I had a from starting in 1996. I had an above ground pool, so I didn't have any lady problems. When you got that above ground pool,
you're pulling that
one way or another, something's happening. So the '90s landed for me. I'm still waiting for another good decade. Hopefully, holding out for 2020. See where that goes.
That's true. We'll see what happens. Well, I was going to say thank you, Justin, for coming out.
Man,
really appreciate it.
Thanks for making the hike.
It's been fun, man.
For sure, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. This is fun.
Next time I have a get together.
Yeah, right.
And our podcast, so you can make your trip only once a month.
My annual trip to the heart of Katie.
Thanks again. I am Jake Pedraza.
Paul Janke.
Rafael Vega.
Justin Lovern.
And this is Gentleman No Class.